6 bulan macam ni, diorang okey je. Tapi bila isu ISET ni, kawan-kawan saya yang banyak mengundi PH pun diorang banyak menentang ISET ni lah. Sebab agama diorang ke, mungkin diorang rasa tergugat, diorang punya keistimewaan ke, diorang rasa tergugat. Sebab tu diorang banyak lebih macam menentang lah.
I decided that we will not accept ICERD. We are not perfect people, although most of us are angels, but even angels sometimes make mistake. So when angels make mistake, they turn around.
Kita berkawan dengan semua orang, tapi benda yang dah termaktub tu kalau boleh janganlah kita nak ganggu ke apa ke.
I'm not fearful of the pro-Malay or pro-Islam thing because I can see that there are more Malay that is more open-minded nowadays, and then they are going for more democratic society. I hope in the future the Malaysia can be like Singapore, and where everyone is treated equally.
I think that's the reality that the old government and the new government now is battling on how to handle and change that narrative on the ground. The fear mongering is what snaps people to say, "Oh, this is bad. We'll lose this, we'll lose that." So if a person on the kampong or even in the town feels threatened, have open conversation. It's assuring people that equality will not take away but will add on more. So I think all is not lost, but I think by just hoping and sitting and waiting, things won't change,
I grew up with friends of different races. When I married a Malaysian Indian and when I had my first child, my husband and I felt that we need to go and register the child as Malaysian, not defined by race because she's of mixed races. We want our child to start looking at issues no longer from the perspective of race. I mean, the baggage that we have in our generation and the generation before us should not be carried by the generation to come.
I was very excited indeed, and I thought it is a dream worth growing old for.
Malaysia owes its origins in Genesis to communal politics. You cannot get away from it. Can we do without it? Yes, we can, but not in this generation.
During the Abdullah Badawi era, a lot more religious issues came out. For the first time, non-Muslims were feeling that their rights were being trampled to a certain extent. Whereas before, under the previous regime, there was a lot of compromise.
Now politicians all depend on all these race-based rhetorics actually to survive and to win votes.
They just want a fair opportunity to bid for a contract or to be enrolled into university. And I don't think they're asking for drastic changes. They just want to be treated fairly.
For a country to move forward, for the people to move forward together, they first have to have a common goal, common objective, common identity, which is what is lacking in Malaysia. In the current political climate, it's obviously not realistic to move away from race-based politics. Having said that, the Prime Minister did that in 1991. His response to a more Malay-centric opposition politics at that time was Bangsa Malaysia, Vision 2020. So unfortunately, the current leadership does not have similar powers or similar influence to seize the narrative and try to move away from race-based politics like what he did in 1991.
It's almost a continuation of Vision 2020, where with stronger focus or equal focus, not just on developed or unified Malaysia, but equitable Malaysia, inclusive Malaysia, that everyone benefit.
It is an implicit kind of acceptance that some things need to stay. What's important is at the psychological level. Each government must not give the impression that Malay rights are being taken away. Although at the practical level, I don't think it's as aggressive as it was before. But that's largely also because a lot more Malays had come up, a lot more Malays had received higher education. So to a certain extent, that has kind of acted as a moderating force, you see, against implementing affirmative action policy fully and more extensively.
We will be in denial if we say we don't need race-based. It is very important to still use race-based, but it must be very selective.
There have been so many false starts. We are all doing the same things every time and we're expecting different results. Probably for 10 years, I don't think anything will really happen.
People generally identify themselves as ethnic Chinese first or ethnic Malay first before they could call themselves Malaysian. So that is a major obstacle.
Unless you put it into constitutional or legal form, it will not work that well. Policy alone is not enough. Therefore, this 2030 shared future is good on the earlobe, but it may not succeed after Mahathir is no longer in that chair.